Picture this. You're walking down your favorite shopping street, your eyes darting from one store window to the next. Each display is a world of possibilities, a siren song calling you to explore what's inside. The allure is palpable. It's more than just an inanimate object. It's a promise of a new experience, a new identity, a new you. The excitement begins to bubble up as you spot something that catches your eye. It could be a trendy pair of shoes, the latest smartphone, or maybe a sleek modern lamp that would fit perfectly in your living room. You find yourself justifying why you need this new item. The shoes will make you stand out. The smartphone will make your life easier. The lamp will breathe new life into your space. You paint a vivid picture in your mind of how this item will bring a sense of satisfaction, a rush of joy. You step into the store. The air is filled with a distinct scent, a blend of new leather, polished wood, and a hint of excitement. You're greeted by the friendly staff, their smiles adding to the warm and inviting atmosphere. You walk over to the item you've been eyeing. It's even better up close. You can already see yourself wearing those shoes at a party, capturing memories with that smartphone, or relaxing in the soft glow of that lamp. The decision is made. You head to the counter. Your heart flutters as you hand over your credit card. The cashier hands you the receipt, and there it is, the final confirmation of your purchase. You feel a pang of guilt as you glance at the total, but it's quickly overshadowed by the anticipation of owning something new. Before you know it, you're walking out of the store, bags in hand, wallet a little lighter. But hey, you got that new thing you wanted, right? So what's going on here? Why do we constantly crave new things? Let's dive into the intriguing realm of our minds to understand this insatiable desire for newness. For starters, there's something called the novelty effect. This is our brain's propensity to respond more positively to things that are, well, novel or new. It's like when you get a new gadget. You're excited, you're intrigued, you're eager to explore all its features. That's your brain releasing dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitter. But as time passes, the novelty wears off, the dopamine levels drop, and we're left wanting another new thing to recreate that initial rush. Then there's the concept of retail therapy. We've all been there, feeling down, stressed, or bored, and finding solace in the act of buying something new. This isn't mere indulgence. It's a psychological phenomenon where the act of shopping can help to alleviate negative emotions. It's like a quick fix emotional bandage that gives us a temporary high. But there's more to it. Our desire for new things is also fueled by societal pressure and marketing strategies. We live in a world that often equates new with better. A world where marketing campaigns are designed to make us feel like we're missing out if we don't have the latest, the shiniest, the most advanced. It's a constant barrage of new is better, and it's hard not to get swept up in the tide. So, it's not just about the new things themselves, but what these things represent. They're symbols of status, of progress, of happiness. They're tokens of success in a world that often measures worth by material possessions. But here's the catch. These feelings are fleeting. But what happens after you've bought that new thing? How long does that satisfaction last? Let's take a moment to reflect on this. Isn't it fascinating, the rush we get when we acquire something brand new? The unboxing, the fresh smell, the pristine condition of the item, it's almost intoxicating. But, in the grand scheme of things, this euphoria is fleeting, isn't it? Before we know it, the novelty wears off, the shine dulls, and the thrill of the new purchase fades into the background of our everyday life. This is a classic case of hedonic adaptation, a psychological phenomenon where people quickly return to a relatively stable level of happiness despite major positive or negative events or life changes. In simpler terms, we humans are wired to get used to new things. Unfortunately, this natural tendency often leads us down a rabbit hole of constant wanting. A never-ending cycle of buy, use, forget. Think about it. One moment, you're ecstatic about your new smartphone, the latest model, top of the line. But a few weeks later, it's just another object in your life, and you're already eyeing the next model announced. Does this sound familiar? This leads us to overspending, emptying our wallets and filling our homes with items we barely use or need. It's not just about the financial aspect either. This cycle of constant consumption can clutter not just our physical space, but also our mental spaces. Each unnecessary item is a tiny burden, taking up room in our homes and our minds, distracting us from what truly matters. And so, we find ourselves back at square one, yearning for that initial rush of satisfaction, that fleeting sense of happiness. The cycle repeats itself, and we're left on a perpetual treadmill of consumption, forever chasing the high of the new. So, the satisfaction is short-lived, and before we know it, we're back on that shopping street, looking for the next new thing to buy. But is there a way to break free from this cycle? We'll explore that in our next scene. How can we break this cycle? How can we stop wanting to buy new stuff? Well, it all starts with recognizing the habits that trigger our desire for the new. It could be the thrill of a sale, the allure of the latest gadget, or the false promise of happiness from a shiny, new purchase. Firstly, let's consider mindfulness. Mindfulness involves being fully present and aware of where we are and what we're doing, not overly reactive or overwhelmed by what's happening around us. When we're about to make a purchase, let's pause and ask ourselves, do I really need this? Will this bring me lasting happiness? Or is it just a fleeting thrill? Another strategy is to appreciate what we already have. This doesn't mean we can't ever buy anything new, but it does mean we should take the time to acknowledge and be grateful for the things we already own. This can help us realize that we often already have what we need, and that buying more won't necessarily make us happier. Thirdly, we can try to reduce exposure to advertising. Advertisements are designed to make us want new things. They create a sense of urgency, convincing us that we need to buy now. By limiting our exposure to these influences, we can reduce our desire for new things. Lastly, let's aim for quality over quantity. Instead of always going for the latest trend, let's invest in items that are durable, timeless, and truly valuable. This not only saves us money in the long run, but also helps us lead more sustainable lives. Breaking the cycle of constantly wanting new things isn't easy, but it's definitely possible. It requires self-awareness, discipline, and a shift in perspective. It's about finding contentment in what we have, rather than constantly seeking satisfaction in what we don't. By understanding why we want new things and learning how to resist these urges, we can lead to a more satisfying and less cluttered life. It's a journey worth embarking on, don't you think? Now that we understand the psychology behind our buying habits, let's look at some practical tips and tricks to help us resist the urge to constantly buy new stuff. Firstly, setting a budget. Decide on a reasonable amount to spend on non-essential items each month. This will help curb impulse buying and make us think twice before making a purchase. Once the budget is set, discipline is key. Stick to it faithfully, and you'll see the difference it makes. Secondly, implement a waiting period. When you see something you want, don't buy it immediately. Wait for a week or two, and then consider if you still want it. More often than not, you'll find that the urge to buy has passed. Thirdly, unsubscribe from marketing emails and avoid shopping centers. The less exposure you have to advertising and sales, the less likely you are to be tempted into buying something new. This also means spending less time browsing online stores and more time enjoying the things you already have. Lastly, practice gratitude. Take a moment each day to appreciate what you already have. This could be as simple as writing down 3 things you're grateful for each morning. When we practice a sense of gratitude, we are less likely to seek happiness in material possessions. With these practical steps, we can start to break the cycle of constant consumption and lead more fulfilling lives. Remember, the goal isn't to stop buying new things entirely, but to buy mindfully and intentionally. It's about finding contentment in what we have, rather than constantly seeking satisfaction in what we don't. This journey towards mindful consumption isn't easy, but is definitely worthwhile. So, are you ready to take the first step? Let me know in the comments. Check out my next video that YouTube suggests, and I'll see you on the other side.